Joining us now is the India ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Taranjit Singh Sandhu, one of the best ambassadors India could have to a nation witnessing a transition of power. Ambassador Saab, good evening. Thank you very, very much. Very interesting times these.
Indeed, and I can tell you that in my stint here, I have seen many interesting times. And of course, these are unprecedented times, largely due to the COVID challenges.
Yes.
And, over last 2 decades, I have been involved with this relationship, and I can tell you, there have been interesting times throughout. 1998, the nuclear tests.
Yeah.
In 2000, we had both President Clinton's visit to India, Prime Minister Vajpayee's visit here. Then, of course, down to 2015, the famous President Obama's visit to Republic Day. That was the first US president to participate in our Republic Day. Then, of course, Prime Minister Modi's 4 historic visits during President Obama's period. The famous one, 2014, Madison Square Garden. In 2015, it was to West Coast. And then finally in 2016, the iconic visit to the US Congress. So I've had the privilege of participating in all of them.
True, but Ambassador Saab, since the 90s, spanning over about 2 decades, you have liaised with both sides on the political spectrum, especially in the US. Is there a commonality in outlook towards India?
No, as you have correctly mentioned, that I have had the privilege of interacting with both sides of the aisle, as they say here. For a number of months, I took over in February, and I've been underlining this aspect that there is a bipartisan consensus on strong India-US relations. And this, as I mentioned to you, that over the years, last 20 years, I've closely followed it. And I was delighted to hear that last week, the new US Secretary of State, Tony Blinken, in fact, he called the India-US relationship a bipartisan success. So this is a partnership between 2 democracies. We all often hear world's largest and oldest. This has been the acknowledgement both in the US Congress and in the US administration. And this democratic ethos and spirit, where we can sit across and discuss all the issues, including many of the challenges, it's something that is unique to both our democratic polities.
Yeah.
And in the last 20 years, all US presidents, whether they were Democrats or Republicans, they have all visited India. And beyond the high-level political ties, there's a strong people-to-people connect here. Of course, not only in the economic partnership, there are about 2,000 US companies in India today. These are all major Fortune 500 companies.
Yes.
There are 200 Indian companies investing in the US, and you will be surprised to know they have created about 125,000 jobs across most of the states. So they are very much part of the US ecosystem.
Right.
And I will not be wrong to say that there is no area of human endeavor in which India and US are not collaborating with each other.
Well, very well said there. But Ambassador, the transition of power has been quite tumultuous, to say the least. What do you think will the Biden administration's approach be towards India?
Right. Look, if you see President Biden's own history, he has been a great supporter of stronger ties with India, both as a senator. I recall that in 1997-98, when he headed the Foreign Relations Committee, then as the Vice President. It's well known that he played a very important and critical role in getting the nuclear deal passed in the Senate. Yeah. And then we can also see very recently, that is on last year, August 15th, when he spoke about India. It can be viewed on YouTube. Then he put in an op-ed down in October. So all those are indicative of how he views India. And then, of course, in 2006, his remark is often quoted, where he has said that he had a dream of India and US as closest partners.
Yes.
And finally, 17th November, there was a very warm conversation between Prime Minister Modi and President. And in that, they have touched upon some of the issues. And of course, we will get to the details of it. But I want to quickly mention to you that this is not just based on rhetoric.
Yeah.
I can clearly indicate to you that there are 5 key baskets in which we can expect a close cooperation between India and the United States. Now, the first is the pandemic. Cooperation is healthcare, pharmaceuticals, COVID-19 management, then of course, the affordable vaccines and affordable medicines. That is a very, very important issue here. The second would be the basket of digital cooperation, which is set to expand, especially in information and communication technology. You can also add innovation and digital space here. Third would be the energy basket, especially in renewables, including solar. And this all will allow us to combat the climate change, in which both the leaders are very committed.
That's also an important issue.
Fourth, I would say, again, is a very important basket is education and knowledge partnership. You would be aware that there are over 200,000 Indian students in the United States.
Yes.
And most of them are in STEM areas. So cooperation in technology, in cutting-edge innovation areas, campus-to-campus relations, there is a lot of excitement. We have been in touch with at least 50 top US universities, and they are very keen to establish this relationship. And finally, one of the most important, which all of you are aware, the traditional cooperation in strategic and defense areas, especially in the Indo-Pacific. This will continue.
True, but since you mentioned health, let's start with one of the first baskets that you mentioned. You mentioned 5 baskets. Now, India has successfully supplied vaccines in our neighborhood under the Vaccine Maitri program, championed by the Prime Minister himself, and to Brazil as part of this entire vaccine diplomacy. How will India and US work together in this?
I can mention to you, Anand, that has been very closely watched here, particularly in the US Congress. Now you are quite aware that pandemic control is a critical issue both for India, United States and the world. And the new US administration has made it very clear that this is an important priority for the president. In fact, President Biden has signed his first executive orders, and if you listen to his speeches, this is the focus area. And India, which is the world's largest vaccine producer, it's a pharmacy of the world, as is well known now. We have shown the scale and speed in vaccine manufacturing, delivery that we can offer. This will be a key to ensuring what I would call as universal public health. And Prime Minister Modi has reiterated our commitment in contributing our capabilities for global health. And as you have indicated, the Vaccine Maitri program, this is a demonstration of this commitment. Now, India and the US have had a long-standing partnership in health and scientific research. We have closely collaborated in combating diseases such as TB, cancer, HIV, eye diseases. Then, just a few years back, we had again partnered together to produce a vaccine called rotavirus, which has gained a lot of popularity in a number of countries, including Africa. And we have this India-US Vaccine Action Program, under which NIH and Indian Department of Biotech, and of course ICMR, they are collaborating for last almost 33 years. And right now, there are 5 vaccine candidates that are under joint collaboration. That is between United States and India. And of course, Bharat Biotech, and plus they have a collaboration with a US company here. They are trying to produce the vaccine, which will have outreach to a certain section which has not been covered by the existing US vaccines. That is the children and youth. So what I'm trying to indicate to you is that it would be a complementary partnership.